Okay. Evening, everyone.
Evening.
Welcome to October meeting of Hayfield Parish Council. The first item of the agenda is apologies for absence. Do we have any apologies, Andy?
Yeah, Councillor Toft, a very last-minute engagement, personal matter.
Okay, just Councillor Toft, is there?
That I've been made aware of.
Okay. Do councillors want to make any variations in order of business?
Should the quotations and things be discussed in part 2?
That is a good point, actually. Do you have a discussion regarding prices, Andy? I know you're struggling to get them at one stage.
Yes, I want to. I could do with a decision on both of them, and that's
Okay.
so that will be to do with item 12, the playground equipment repair, the tree surveys at item 11. I don't have a quote for item 22, so it'll be 11 and 12 if we could do it part 2.
Okay, so will somebody move that?
I propose them. Both propose.
Okay, someone saying that?
I'll second that.
Right, thank you. I think Kath's hand came up first. Thanks,
Okay.
Kath. So those two items, 11 and 12, will go straight from 10 to 13. I think that's a good point, well made about the cost. Declaration of members' interest. Has anyone got a declaration to make?
No.
Nope. So therefore, there's no need on item 4 for dispensations from members. We've already decided which items should be excluded, where the public should be excluded because of the financial discussions, which brings us to item 6, public speaking, which I'll come to you then, Eva, for the Borough Council report.
Yeah. If you remember, some time back, I attended a meeting at the Village Hall with Roy Lyons as chairman. We got a report back, but it wasn't really what I expected. I asked Roy Lyons for the minutes, and he says there are none. So I will not be attending any more of those meetings there, because the things they're discussing are already what we've discussed and what we're working hard on. So that is my report on that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. I have nothing to add. Item 7, minutes of the previous meeting. Has anyone any comment on the minutes of 2nd of September? In that case, will someone move them, please?
I'll move them.
And Dave seconded them. So all in favour of that? Thank you. And the Finance Committee on the 16th?
I'll propose those.
Okay. And
Seconded.
Jackie seconded them. And I take it we're all in favour. Thank
Yeah.
you. Chair's announcements. It's with sadness, I'm sure you're all aware of the passing of former parish councillor John McCall, in which case I propose that we have a minute silence in recognition of his services to the council and the community. He was well known in the area, both personally living in the middle of the village and running his business in the village. So if we can have a minute silence. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Other than that, the DELC AGM on the 20th of October, I think we should be represented. As chair, I was proposing to attend, unless anyone's got any anything they wish to. No. Okay. And that's about it from me. As when we get to the traffic report, I might use a bit of poet's license there to raise one or two issues whichever are interest to us. Item 9, clerk's report. Andy.
Yeah, I think it covers most of what I've done in there, and a lot of what I've been working on you're going to discuss in other items later on. The one that was stood out, I suppose, that isn't reported on elsewhere is the Valley Road Bridge, and we have had 2 communications from P. Hudson Construction. The last one asking if there was any reason any dates we didn't want, i.e. school holidays, or any reason via COVID, and I said we had no objections to any, and all we really wanted now was an installation date. When I mentioned the insurance claims, I think one has been paid out this week. I received a check, or sorry, the bank account received a payment of £2,500, which is the maximum you can get for one of those claims. So I'm making a presumption that is for our long-term sick worker. I had been offered 500, but I asked them how they'd done the maths to get to that figure. Never heard anything else, and then got 2,500. In respect of that gentleman, I said I've asked for an occupational health assessment. That's come through. That will take place on the 13th. There was one item on the agenda I did want to move, which isn't there. I omitted to put it on. I believe Councillors Lawson and Ashton will cover that in the traffic committee. Any questions?
Has anyone any questions of Andy regarding his report? No. Okay. Thanks, Andy. As you say, we'll come to some of the items later. Item 10, planning. There's three applications here. First of all, HPK 2020-0403, 16 Meadows Road, alterations to windows and doors.
Have no objection.
Does anyone want to say anything?
I have no objection. No, it looks all in order.
Yep. Okay, so I think from that we can say no objection or no comment on Andy, whichever we normally say.
Yep.
The second one is the old doctor's surgery, I believe, 1517 New Mills Road, Hayfield, which is going to be a polyclinic. I didn't know what a polyclinic was, so I looked it up in the dictionary. It's not quite what is stated in the thing. So I don't know. But we get the general. Has anyone any comment to?
I've no objection, and I think we should encourage it because it's bringing more business into the village.
Okay.
I would second that.
All right. So shall we say no comment, or do you want to put something stronger than that up, Eva?
You can just click "We support" without comment.
Yeah, I think we should support it strongly.
Yeah.
Are we all of that view?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the council's view, and then the later one, which Andy emailed to us, National Park 0920 0895, which is the I can't remember the address now. Flipping heck.
Park Close.
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
See it there.
Has anyone any comment to make about that?
No, it looks very nice.
So are we going for no comment, or someone make a proposal?
I propose we let it go through.
Right. No comment then.
Yeah.
No.
All right, there we are. No comment, Andy. Right, we're going to take 11 and 12 in part 2. 13, Christmas 2020. Andy, do you want to kick us off on this?
Yeah, the normal celebrations for Christmas would be the turning on of the trees, the lights which are on the tree, the putting of the crib, and the arch, which the arch is put up by myself, a couple of gentlemen from the village, and our caretaker and gardeners, but we don't do the decoration. Last year that was sorted by various people. We are in your hands. What we can't do as the clerk and the gardener and the caretaker is decorate it, but we can do everything else. And obviously, I would not encourage this council to try and run a over 15 people, because I don't think I've got the capacity to, well, for want of a better word, police it within both the law and the guidelines, which would be the carol service. Over to yourself, Chair.
Chair, Andy, so what you're saying is that you're suggesting that we do everything else, but we can't do the arch, in a nutshell. Your employees can get it up, but unless somebody else decorates it, it'll be a wooden structure. Right. Yeah. So that's okay. I've got Lisa, and then I've got Jackie, and then I've got Eva. Lisa.
I think we should probably get the arch this year with the way things are. But I don't think we should abandon a service yet. I think we should wait till November. You don't know what's going to happen. We don't have to book a band, could do something simple if the rules change. I think we should just wait and see what happens. Obviously, we're just going to light the tree at some point. But anything else, I'd still hold on, because we don't know. It's a few weeks off yet. That's a couple of months off yet. But I would the arch.
Okay, Jackie, and then Eva.
Lisa didn't mention the crib just now. I think probably we could get the crib out as well, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
sorry, I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely can do that. Without breaching any regulation, we can do that.
Eva?
I've spoken to the vicar today. There are no plans at all for any sorts of services because of the amount of people, and there'll be nothing in church because of the situation. And he would really like to see the crib there, which we agree is a good thing. But I think thinking it is impossible to think of a service outside the tree. It's too complicated and there's too many rules, he thinks, as things are.
Has anyone else got anything that they'd like to add? Lisa, you? Yep, Lisa.
I think that's at the moment, but things can change, and we're talking 8 weeks off yet. We don't have to make that decision yet. We can just say we're going to light it, we're going to put the crib up, and we'll consider something if things change. I don't think we should say no just yet.
Does anyone want to make a proposal? Okay, I'll make a proposal then. That's we utilise the tree and the crib. We have those on display, and as yet we are making no plans for a Christmas service, and we'll review that at the November meeting.
Yeah, I think that's
will someone second that? Jackie, you're second.
I'm seconding it, and I'm very quickly asking, what about the cenotaph tree and the tree outside the office?
Oh, that'll go up.
Yeah, include that in that resolution, please. We'll do them definitely.
Okay.
We need to order them off the village hall.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm seconding it, wasn't I?
All right. All those in favour?
Yes. I'm sorry, I've got the video on. For some strange reason, my audio doesn't work if I've got the video on as well. I always have that problem with these meetings.
Oh, well, at least you can hear us and we can hear you, Gav.
Yeah.
Andy, do you want to lead on the old school field, and if there's been any communication since our meeting?
Yeah, sure. You might remember I had mentioned to a few of you prior to lockdown, I'd started to get queries from companies who were bidding or putting in to carry out work to replace the shock absorbers on the flyover, the main road, the made Hayfield, Chinley Glossop Road. And once the COVID struck, didn't hear anything. I'd sent them the same conditions we've used with Severn Trent as a start of 10. And then literally for the last meeting, we were contacted, and the contract from DCC has gone to Eric Wright Civil Engineering Limited. Their job is to replace the shock absorbers. Put that in context, if you go over the bridge, you might suddenly hear dum dum, and that's the metal shock absorbers starting to go. They had requested the use of our land as Severn Trent had, and again, I'd sent them the same things, which was the cost, looking after it, the security, making sure footpaths and rights of way were fully accessible to everybody, and we could get hold of things, and their responsibility for security. Requested a site visit with Councillor Ashton, and that took place, I think, the week before last. They're agreeable to everything. They've sent me a contract which basically says everything we would want it to say, that absolving us of liabilities. It's a rather lengthy one, considerably better than the one I had with Severn Trent. Their plan is to contain their comfort cabins within fencing, to secure it themselves, to run everything themselves, and rather than running in a big long row down the back this time, it will be in a square a bit closer to the grass. I was talking to the workmen, for want of a better word, to sort out arrangements for access and security, etc. And Tony, you were talking to the boss man. It doesn't really seem any different to what we did with Severn Trent, but it's a 6-month project.
I'll just add to that before I bring Lisa in. I can see Lisa's got a hand up. I also spoke with them. They were going to tell us in detail exactly what they required. But my simple view on this was that by helping them to carry out the works, the works will be carried out quicker, and there'll be less disruption in and around the village. And also we asked that they had no deliveries before 9 a.m. in the morning, because I know that some of the parents get rather fraught getting their children to schools, particularly those that are at the last minute. Lisa, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, the only thing there is, when are they going to do this? Because I know we don't know at the moment whether there'll be a May Queen or fell runs or anything like that. But if they're on that field and the May Queen does go ahead, how's that going to work?
It shouldn't clash.
When are they going to do it?
12th of October for 21 weeks.
It's 5 months. 5 months,
February,
basically.
March. It'll be done by February, March.
Right.
Mick.
I was just concerned that
like
the May Queen might not go ahead.
I'll come back to you, Lisa, in a minute. Right, where you have a thought.
Okay.
Mick.
Yeah, I'd just like to sort of back up what you were saying there, Tony, about the deliveries. I think it's very important that road is already causing major complications, because, as you mentioned, parents that may be running a little bit late or whatever do go down there at unacceptable speeds. And if that's combined with lorries coming in and out of that yard, it could be a major complication. I mean, I've heard some parents say that there've been 1 or 2 near misses in and around that area by the bottom of, is it Lee Road there that goes up to the right, and also the as you come out of the old school field where the kids cross there. So it could be a major cause for concern. So is there something we can strengthen in that, or is it just a little agreement you had with the foreman?
No, that'll be something part of the contract.
Right. Okay, that's a good idea.
Okay, Lisa, I'll come back to you. Then I've got Martin, then Eva.
Again, all my thing is that this work must be finished. We don't know whether we'll have a May Queen or the fell races, but the fell races usually start in April. And I think we need a guarantee that it'll be done, and also that if there's any damage, obviously they'll repair it.
That's part of the contract. The difficulty is
Right.
that if we had a horrendous winter, it could go beyond 21 weeks. Now, it's in
That concerns me.
It's in their own interest to get the job done as soon as possible, and they have built in some insurance. But if we go back to one of the winters that we had about 10 or 12 years ago, I can well imagine that it will go beyond the 21 weeks.
Well, that is a concern, I think, because they do book the fell races. I'm sure the first one's in April, but we'd have to check. And you imagine the uproar if there is a May Queen and they haven't got the field.
Oh well, yeah, it won't go beyond that. I'm confident.
No.
Okay. And perhaps we could make that part of.
I think that should be a condition.
Yeah.
But the license only runs to the 8th of March, so they'd have to take out another agreement with us. There's nothing within the draft contract to allow for an extension, and they've got their termination set as the 8th of March 2021.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good, Andy.
I just want to firm up reading through with them before. I've got a few days to sign it, that we've got that avoiding school drop off and pick up. I want a clause in there.
Yeah.
Everything else in there apart from that. So if you go for it, I will ask for that to be inserted.
Martin.
I would imagine, I've heard that they were going to do this a long time ago, many years ago, but they have to jack up the bridge. Therefore, there might be detours through the village with lorries, etc., diversions. So, and also at night, they're talking about road closures at night. So there will be some disruption going through the village.
Can you comment on that, Andy? I
do remember them. That if you remember, it's in two parts. They will cut a strip up one side of grass. They'll put in scaffolding. They'll insert the jacks. They'll jack up one side at a time. So for the vast majority of this works, the worst you're going to see is a one lane closure. So when they finish on one side, they move to the other, and they're not keen on night working. Yeah, it's going to be disruption, Martin. It's a huge, great road.
We've got to do.
It's just lorries coming through the village at night.
There's no mention of night working at all.
No, but if there's diversions, they did mention it was some kind of night work.
It could happen, but it'd be a minimum amount of time. You cannot change. They cannot do that sort of work without causing disruption. Impossible.
No. Okay, I've got Eva and then I've got Mick.
What I was going to comment is at Chinley School, they don't have any wagons from PVC or anywhere, morning or in the afternoon, and it works well. And I agree that we should do that.
Yeah.
Mick.
Yeah, for me, it's going to be very difficult to predict how long this work's going to take. So binding this company to finishing at a certain date in March is going to be, they may get halfway through it. It's not the sort of work that seems to me that you can stop and go away. So I think we're going to have to be, I don't know about open-minded, but we're going to have to be aware that this could go on a lot longer than the middle of March. So something like the fell race, which is obviously very important, maybe could be sort of redirected to Bank Vale to start there or something like that. I just got a feeling that we could hit complications with the work because it seems quite a big project to me, replacing shock absorbers, that type of thing. And I've got a feeling with construction, as you all know, can go on, and it could easily run past the end of March, I think.
Jackie.
I'm sorry, I missed your discussion. I was wondering, would we write to our usual customers, as it were, explaining what's going to be happening in the old school field for the next 6 months at least, so that they are forewarned and can think of alternatives for themselves?
It'll be very popular if we ask the May Queen to move.
Well, no.
I think the situation at the moment is that as Andy says, the contract runs till the 8th of March. Now, if there were difficulties and they hadn't moved out by the 8th of March, we could take action against them. It would be costly, but it wouldn't be horrendously costly to get them off if we needed them off by May. I can't talk about the fell race. I don't know what date it is, so I'm unable to comment.
There's a few which are all cancelled at the moment, but they're right. There's only 2 or 3 organisers.
So, but certainly we could get them off for May. I've no doubt about it.
I agree with you there.
And you know, and the flip side of this is that were we not to agree to it, they'd have to park their vehicles and their stock somewhere else, Lord knows where, and it would be it would actually slow the job down, and you know, the concerns that we have, which I share, will be enhanced, I think, if they're operating from a site further away. I think we're talking mitigation here rather than you know, solution.
It's better they're on there than parked on the road, and they're a sensible company, and carry on.
I personally think probably might not be a May Queen this again, but we don't know, do we? But I think we should, you know, we should do everything we can to ensure that if there is a May Queen, that they're off there. It's been cancelled already. If it was to go ahead, we're not going to look great, are we, if they can't use the field?
No, I'm confident we'll have the field back for the May Queen, or at least, as I say, the worst case scenario, we can get it back for the May Queen. I'm confident of that. I was actually impressed with the two people that we met.
Yeah, I've no problem with them using it.
And you know, they understood the difficulties that the site presented to us as a parish council, and using the field.
They're a very good company anyway.
Right. So with the proviso that we have included in about the school time in the contract, will someone move the proposition?
I will.
Thank you, Eva. Someone second it?
Yes, fine.
Thanks, Kath. All right, all those in favour?
I've got my hand up as well, Tony, I'm sorry. I've had my hand up for a while.
All right, you want to say something, Kath? Sorry.
I just wanted to add something to the earlier conversation about the school times along Swallow-House Lane. There was quite a nasty incident, I believe, a couple of days ago with a resident. The story is that he reverse parked very quickly, and very small children and parents had to jump out of the way, and he started berating them for using his road. And since then, I've noticed there's been a police presence going in time and coming out time. Yes, which is quite reassuring.
I can add more to that after.
All right. Okay.
Thanks, Kath. Yeah, well, we do. We can't condone that sort of behaviour. You know, it's the old saying: nobody owns the road outside their house.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All those in favour? Thank you. That's carried unanimously.
Yeah.
The allotments and Hayfield and tourism meeting. Did you attend that, Jackie?
Yes.
Do you want to kick us off on it? Sorry to drop that on you.
That's all right. One of the issues around allotments had been to do with consistency between various documents concerning tenants and tenancy rights and so on and so forth. So there have been changes to the wording on the tenancy agreement, the guidelines and the constitution to make it all similar. I don't know if the clerk wants to refresh our minds as to what the changes are.
What I'm asking you for is to go into negotiation with the Allotment Society, talk to the Allotment Society and get 3 documents aligned. At the moment, we have the Allotment Society's constitution, yes, it's constitution, and it's to do with termination of tenancies. And there are a number of inspections carried out each year, and on their document, if it's found that someone hasn't looked after the plot to the satisfaction of the society, they are given 8 weeks to bring it back to scratch. And if it's done so at the end of those 8 weeks, happy days. We never hear anything about it. And apparently there's an appeal within 4 weeks with mitigating circumstances referring to that. The issue there is you can go round and round in circles with the same person, and it doesn't come to our notice. We're basically the landlord. If we want to end a tenancy, there's a number of ways we can do it. One, we need no reason whatsoever, and neither does the tenant. We just give notice and say we want that plot back. And if we cease the tenancy at one point in the year, we give them 6 months notice. If we cease it another time, we give them 1 month and they're off. The other reason we can take the plot back is if we're going to build on it. But the one I'm interested in is, or they don't pay the rent. The other one is failure to respond to the cultivation of the plot to the satisfaction of the society. And that's given a 1 month's notice, which you can see is different to the 8 weeks. And what I was hoping you'd give me permission to do is ask the allotments, and to strengthen their hand in some respects, is to incorporate these almost into a football yellow card scenario, in that once in your tenancy, you will be given the 8 weeks notice. And if you get it back to the satisfaction, great. But then if you fail a second time in your tenancy, you don't go into that 8 week cycle, you'll refer to the landlord, us, and we give you the 1 month notice, and you can get it back to the satisfactory level. If you fail a third time, then we're not mucking about with that. We're on fail end of tenancy 3A notice. I wanted built into every stage of there a right to appeal, because there's no appeal against us. If we give 1 month's notice and say you're off, there is no right of appeal. So that's what I was asking you. Would you give me permission to speak to the Allotment Society?
Jackie.
And then bring it back to you in a documentary form for you to approve, and that both our society that runs it on our behalf and ourselves are happy, and we're all got the same documents flowing in the same line.
Jackie.
Yeah.
So were you going to provide us with your suggested wording?
Only once I've been in speaking to the Allotment Society, then I will come back to you with the wording for approval. I've got nothing for you to approve today. I wouldn't want to approve something today without talking to the Allotment Society.
I wasn't suggesting we did. I was suggesting you went with something we'd seen.
I'll go to them with something, but it'll be, in my mind, working. I haven't worked it yet, but that is what we're looking at, a 3-stage system that's linked in. 8 weeks.
And part of their requirements for cultivation would incorporate the climate change agreements.
That's the advisory. This is we recommendations in the non-use of peat, recommendations definitely not to have pesticides. That's pretty illegal anyway. And everything that had been proposed already and was acceptable to the Allotment Society could go into their guidelines constitution.
Should we propose that as a result of your going to talk to the Allotment Society, that it's not only the issue of the tenancy, but also the aspects of cultivation and so forth, and we have an interest.
They want to insert, are happy to insert the following. Tenants are asked to avoid using peat, encouraged to use compost their own plant waste. They're asked to refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle all plastics, and they give advice where to do that. Adopt environmentally friendly practices, and they've already got pesticides in there, and they wanted to add those 3 because they felt they were.
Can we agree that that's all going to be in this agreement that you make with them?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Jackie, I'll come back to you for a proposal if you want to just think about how you want to word it. Martin wants to come in.
Okay, yes.
With inspections, Hague Bar give a written report to each holder. Should we be doing that?
Not us. You'd have
Yes.
to ask the allotment society. We don't
The
do that.
allotment society should give it to the
Well, should
tenant.
they? Certainly, I've had written, when I was an allotment holder, I was given advice, for example, put a lid on your water butt. So,
Sorry, that just sounded funny.
Yes.
But just saying, Hague Bar, they've got quite a good system, and it's quite a new allotment, and it fulfills quite a lot of the problems. So I think, why not use how they're doing it?
I think if they're running it for us, Martin, I don't want to introduce extra paperwork. I think if a holder felt that they hadn't obtained clarification and they received the yellow card, as it were, and they could easily go back to the allotment society, or indeed come to us and explain their issue. I just want to, I'm reluctant to put something onerous on them when we have such a good relationship with them. I'll come back to you in a minute, Martin. I've got Mick first of all.
Yeah, so essentially in a nutshell here, I think we're talking about a two-tier scenario in the contract whereby we're imposing a yellow-red card arrangement if people aren't looking after their plants. And secondly, as Jackie pointed out, we want enshrined in that contract that they adhere to all the environmental improvements which we have put together over the last 3 or 4 months. So is that what you're proposing, Andy?
Sorry, as part of the cultivating for the allotment society's standards is a desire. They're not using hammers on people's heads, but they ask them to adhere to their guidelines, as well as various other things like don't build a shed over a certain size, there's lots of law. And within those guidelines, they wish to incorporate, and they're happy to incorporate, the 3 extra, what you would call environmentally friendly guidelines. What this council does not want to do, and has already passed this resolution, is not make these a reason to be off your allotment plot.
Come back, Mick, I can come back on that.
What concerns me a little bit about all these words and environmental, everybody puts their hand up to support environmental improvements, is that there's no actual sanction, or there's no enforcement. I'm just wondering how we can make certain that these advisory scenarios that we're putting to plot holders are actually put into practice. That's what concerns me, because if they're not put into practice, it's a complete waste of time.
That's not the resolution before this meeting, and that was before this council. I know it was over 5 months ago, and you could try it again, but it was not resolved to do that in a previous meeting. The resolution today is to give the clerk, to give me your permission to produce new documents that marry up both our tenancy and the Hayfield Allotment Society's constitution, so they're both the same. Like I've just pointed out, one talks about appeals, the other doesn't. One can go around in circles for 10 years without ever drawing something to a conclusion. What you're talking about, Mick, is that they can go in they can be entered in the guidelines, but this council resolved not to use those as a reason for the termination of a tenancy. And if that's what you need, you'll have to come back with a new resolution, a new agenda item.
I think it might be helpful, Andy, as a sort of midway point, if we I'm supportive of what you're suggesting, but I think it might be helpful to let's say have a quiet word with the allotment society and give them an indication of the direction in which the council is likely to move in the next year or so, so that they are prepared and they're not caught with one leg in the air.
Yeah, I mean, that was the idea.
Like I said,
straight to them from this meeting and say, first of all, the documents, and then as Mick, they've already on side in terms of environmental issues. That could be strengthened later, but that's not for this.
No, no. Jackie, I said I'd come back to you for a proposal. I think we need to move it forward.
Yeah.
Have you got a
I have
proposal?
got a word. I mean, where it says in the agenda to consider agreeing a proposal, can we just agree a proposal to resolve to communicate with the Hayfield Allotment Society so that we can have fully integrated documents that all say the
Yeah.
same thing. To review the current tenancy agreements, guidelines and constitution to remove inconsistencies in respect of inspections, appeals and terminations of the tenancy agreement. I think if we resolve to do that, we're with it.
Yeah. Are you seconding that, Eva?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favour of that resolution?
Yes, yes, me.
Yes.
Okay, that's agreed unanimously. Thank you.
Right.
Okay. The item 16 is Green Homes Initiative.
Yeah, you've missed
Who's going to
something.
lead?
15.
Yeah, it's the May Queen thing, Tony.
15.
Sorry.
This is what.
Can I speak on that, Tony?
Yes.
This was to do with
15 was the Hayfield Allotments, Old School Field and Tourism meeting. To consider being proposal to the Allotment Society, consider authorising 2 councillors to open a dialogue with the May Queen Committee. I beg your pardon. So that's 15.2. I did miss that out. Who's leading on this?
Mick.
Yeah, basically,
It's you, is it, Mick?
yeah, it was agreed at the meeting that 2 councillors, Eva and myself, have put ourselves forward for this, but it doesn't have to be us 2, would speak to the representatives of the May Queen committee with regard to enhancing their environmental practices going forward. And perhaps we could not lean on them, but just sort of suggest to them ways in which we feel they could improve the use of things like polystyrene, plastic, all this type of thing in a more environmentally friendly way. And me and Eva were going to go across and speak to them, possibility of getting them to improve this.
Does anyone
Did you
have a comment to make on that? Lisa?
I
Can
would
you hear me,
agree
Lisa?
to let Mick and Eva. Yeah, I'll let Mick and Eva get on with that and do, you know, even though it's a bit of a difficult time for the May Queen Committee at the moment, I would imagine.
Anyone else wants to make a comment? Martin?
Yeah, I would support
Maybe we
that.
should
I'll come you in after, bring you in after, Kath. Martin?
We may be doing the same thing with Eric Wright, with when they're using the field.
Kath?
Yes, I would support gently and diplomatically approaching them to try and reduce plastic and polystyrene and the sort of waste, non-recyclable waste that's usually generated. I think that's got to be a good move, and do it diplomatically so nobody's upset or anything.
I would support that because I wouldn't like to upset the committee because it's very difficult to get people to bring these things on, but it would be very nice if they could reduce the use of disposable plastics in particular, and also polystyrene. Eva?
It was suggested at the meeting, without 2 people going, if Mike put himself on the May Queen Committee, maybe that would be an easier option.
can we stick with the 2 councillors for now? I'd like to defer on that maybe for another time. How often do they meet, the committee? Do you know?
Well, they meet sort of most months, really. There's always something going on and fundraising.
Surely this would have
You're not interested
be
in is he not interested in helping out making dresses, Nick?
I'm very interested in going with Eva, but I prefer not to be representative necessarily. We'll see how we get on at this first meeting.
Yeah, it's quite a commitment.
Yeah.
Eva.
I think this is something that should be arranged through the clerk. I've already let him have the details of the chairman, and I think it should be done through the clerk, please.
You mean that we both attend, yes?
Yeah, but Andy should approach the chairman to make the appointment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take that as a proposal. Andy make contact, and that when contact is made, we diplomatically suggest that we would be grateful if they took steps to reduce the use of plastics and polystyrene. We understand the difficulties that they're working under, but you know,
Really, it's we'd have to convey to them our concerns, and it's up to the May Queen to contact the fair, not us.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But I think you know, if you have someone that's serving food, it's a good start to say to them that they've got to take their own rubbish away with them.
Yes, well experienced with that.
Yeah. Okay, so are we happy with that proposition that Andy contacts in the first instance?
Yes.
We ultimately convey. Okay, it's a number of hands went up there. I'll take it that we're grateful for Andy to make the initial contact. Sorry about that, but prematurely I came to this item. We're back at it in real time now. The Green Homes Initiative. Is this?
Yeah, that's me, Tony.
Okay.
Yeah, basically items, is it, what number item are we on at the moment?
16.
Yeah, 16 and 17 I can more or less wrap up in one hit, really. They're two government initiatives. The first one, the Green Homes Initiative, is basically something which the government are going to provide grants to homeowners, £10,000 grants for those that are on benefits. They'll obviously assess the benefits they're on, etc., and 5,000 for people that are in work. Now, as I say, it is a government initiative, and it's designed to help people improve their insulation in their homes and things like double glazing and all the rest of it. But obviously, insulation of things like their walls, their boiler, and their roofs and that type of thing, and even improve their source of heating, maybe even consider these air ground source heat pumps. They're going to be a little bit more expensive, but and then if they can do that, then to move on to things like energy efficient doors and things like that. Now, as I say, the government have got quite a lot of money that they're giving out. It ends on March the 21st, March next year. The thing about this Green Home Initiative is that most of it is advised for people to apply via their computers, etc. So people that may not be computer literate or that way inclined may not be able to take up the offer or may consider it more difficult. So what I'm asking the Parish Council to endorse is a leaflet explaining this initiative to homeowners within the parish and outlining all the things that the government can help them with, and a reference number. There are people in Sustainable Hayfield who have agreed to explain the advantages of these things. And so instead of them just applying via computer, it will help those read this leaflet, which will explain things in detail and have a parish council endorsement on it. Now, if you want, I can stop at that one. And
yeah, could you do, because I've got a couple of hands up, Mick. Eva first of all, and then Lisa.
I I thought we were not getting any involved anymore with Sustainable Hayfield after our last experience. And I feel they should be able to do that on their own. They keep getting donations and money, and I personally am not in favour. Sorry.
Lisa.
I was a bit confused. So they wanted us to pay for this leaflet,
Yeah.
Sustainable Hayfield, or our leaflet.
No, that's right, Lisa. It's going to be, we're going to explain to the parishioners the government initiative. It's nothing, I think Eva's possibly got on the wrong end of the stick there. It's not Sustainable Hayfield. It's a government initiative. And we are actually explaining to the people what the benefits are and how quickly they can, if they invest in certain things, how quickly the payback will be when they get their energy, their fuel bills in, etc. So not only is it of benefit to them, but it's also will be of benefit to the environment because they'll be using less energy, etc. So it's nothing to do with Sustainable Hayfield, Eva, but Sustainable Hayfield will be able to explain the whys and wherefores, the benefits of doing it. So they will be the actual contact, but it's not their initiative. It's a government funded scheme.
Okay, Lisa, do you want to come back? And then after that, I've got Kath and Eva.
All I was concerned, I thought it was a leaflet that we were paying for Sustainable Hayfield, which then would be a section 137 thing. No, but if it's coming from the parish council, that's a different matter altogether.
Sorry, Tony.
Kath, do you want to? I'll bring you in later, Mick. Let Kath and Eva have their comments. Kath.
Yes, I'd like to support it. I was at the meeting of the climate emergency group, and it ticks all the boxes for our targets to reduce carbon output and everything. We've got people like Graham Hurst who are actually, they do this for a living. So they would be able to help people through the procedure because it is quite complex. And I think it's aimed to be quite complex. You know, the more people in Hayfield that take it up and reduce their carbon output and their use of heating and all sorts of things, the better it'll be for the area. So it ticks all the boxes that we're aiming for on the climate change group. So I would be completely in favour of it. Plus, speed is of an essence. They've made it as complicated as possible, obviously. And I was listening to an article on the Radio 4 today about it, and the problem that people are having is that it's got to be done through an approved contractor, and people are finding difficulty finding an approved contractor within their area.
As it should be.
These are hurdles that Graham and Laurie and people in the know could help people overcome. So I'm in favour of it.
Eva.
I'm sorry, I still disagree. If Graham Hurst is doing it for a living and he's going to be answering the questions, why can they not pay for the leaflet themselves? It's the same thing. They're putting our name to it. We are paying for it, and they're going to do the advising. It's the wrong way.
Well, it's not. Graham's not got his Sustainable Hayfield hat on. He is part of our climate.
I'm sorry, I still don't agree with it.
Just somebody explain to me, what does Graham do for a living?
He's retired.
The council. Well, he did work for the council on exactly this, on retrofitting houses to be more energy efficient. Right. And he's advising Andy at the moment for making reducing the council's carbon footprint.
Okay, Martin, I'll bring you in at the end, Mick. Give you last.
Yeah, sure.
This is basically it's a short time, and trying to get it all done by March is going to be quite an undertaking. So if people want to do it, they've got to do it quickly. And I don't think Graham's working anymore. He's retired, I think.
No, he isn't. He's advertising, doing that, and photograph framing. And I'm sorry, I totally disagree with it all.
Okay, Lisa.
Oh, how would you distribute it?
How would the leaflet be distributed? Okay, Mick, do you want to start with that point?
We'd hand deliver it.
I mean, how many houses in the village? We could distribute that between ourselves, or we could organise it to be distributed.
1,150, I think.
I certainly would volunteer to do that.
Yeah, me too.
Extremely surprised by Eva's reservations on this, because this is a government initiative. This is something which we're doing is sort of making it clear to those who haven't got computers, etc., explaining it clearly in a leaflet, a parish endorsed leaflet. This is nothing to do with Sustainable Hayfield, apart from they will provide the advice, the best way to go about, taking advantage of these grants. But this is, as I say, this is a government initiative to try and reduce carbon emissions, and also at the same time reduce people's energy bills. It seems to be a double win to me.
Right, if we can just stop everyone there for a minute. Dave, is your hand up, or were you just brushing your hair?
Just asking a question, please.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
How much the cost of the leaflet going to be?
Andy, I don't think it'd be overly expensive.
Right.
We need to know.
Okay, I've got three now. I've got Kath, Eva, and first of all, I've got Lisa. Lisa, over to you.
I understand his concerns. As I say, I thought we were just printing a leaflet on Sustainable Hayfield's path, which we shouldn't do. If they'd have asked us for money to do the leaflet on a section, is it a 137?
Yeah.
I don't really know. I don't really understand. Hang on, I'm just reading it. Is you doing it, Andy?
Yeah, sorry. This is the draft.
The climate action but we're having nothing to do with it after the leaflet, are we?
No.
But we're just endorsing it, because if somebody might get some work done, we don't want them to say, oh, you said this, this and this, and it's come from the parish council. When I don't know anything about this.
This little line out, it was the scheme.
Wouldn't it be easier to just give them the money to do the leaflet on a thing and let them do it?
Right.
Sorry.
Because I won't have time to deliver. Tell you now.
Okay, I've got Eva and then Kath, and then I'll have my two penneth, and I'll ask for a resolution. Eva.
If it's a government thing, and the Sustainable or whoever's going to answer it, I still don't think parish council money should be spent on it. Sorry.
Okay, Kath.
I didn't have my hand up actually, Tony, but I actually support it. I think the cost would be absolutely minimal. It won't be done on glossy paper or anything like that, and we could get it out as quickly as possible, because speed is of the essence with this, and it will benefit, as Mick says, the most needy people in the community, which are the older people who probably wouldn't be able to find their way around the application form without some help from somebody who knows how to do it. And we do have the expertise in the village, and it's a shame not to use it.
Right, if I could just make a comment, which has not been discussed at all, and that's the leaflet itself. I had a look at the leaflet. I thought it was very good. It's factually correct. The only concern that I had about it is that there's a number of scams and dubious companies about that are contacting people. I've been contacted, and I think that in my view, the leaflet needs in big bold letters, if you are contacted, seek advice. Please don't please don't sign any contracts until advice is taken, or words to that effect. I have a concern about people being scammed, and I think but the actual leaflet itself, I must say, is I thought was very good. So, does someone want to make a proposal, and we'll see whether it succeeds or fails?
Can I do that, Tony?
Nick, go on then, Mick. What do you want to say?
Yeah, my proposal is that the parish council fund a leaflet to explain the government's initiative on the green, what's it called now? The Green Home Grant Initiative, and that the parish council pay for the actual printing of the leaflet, and we'll deliver it ourselves.
Right, and how much will that be, Mick? Is it £100?
I'm not sure, Andy. Had an estimate for that.
The last time I did this was the voluntary group for the start of COVID, and that, if you remember that leaflet, that came in at, I think, 100.
Right.
Whether we got a discount from Pear Tree or they got a discount, I don't know. But I remember that bill, and I'll look it up just a second.
Well, whilst Dan's is doing that, we think we're talking 100 or thereabout. I think you should get it printed for 100. Would have thought so. Does
85,
someone want to?
Sorry, Tony, 85.
Right. Does someone want to second that?
I'll second that, yes. I'll second.
Dave's okay. All those in favour of that proposal?
Yeah.
Right. If I can if you just hold your hands up, please, so that I can count. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All those against? None, and I'll take it with 3 abstentions then. So in that case, it's passed the up to £100. Do we want to say anything about the take advice before you sign any contracts or something on the leaflet?
Yep.
Okay, if you can say that back, Mick. Jackie, you had your hand up, and I know we've
I wanted
already, but go on.
No, I wasn't going to change anything. I was going to move on to delivery, and we agree we're going to deliver it.
No, the volunteers are going to deliver it. So
Yeah, climate change.
we will not be delivering it.
What volunteer?
Okay, and
I thought we just said we were.
Well, that's right. There were people sitting in this meeting saying we are going to deliver it, and it comes a bit confusing if we is not the current meeting.
Right. Well, perhaps that's my fault, but I think Mick and Kath said that they would help with the delivery.
Yes.
So it's the climate change group that are going to deliver, is it?
Yes.
I can certainly help with that.
We'll undertake to do that. Yes.
All right. Thanks for that, Kath.
A long time.
Moving on to the decarbonised grant scheme. I think this is rather more straightforward, Mick.
This is me again, I'm afraid. It's to do with another government initiative to help businesses, and the government basically will provide via the Derbyshire County Council. It's actually a European initiative as well, but the government have taken it up. And what it is, they will provide 40% of any work that private companies, small to medium companies, will have or will put into practice to actually improve their environmental output, maybe replace their machinery with things that work more efficiently, even to the extent of replacing their lighting with the more environmentally friendly, I can't remember what you call those lights that LED lights and that type of thing. That's a minimum example, but also things like, as I say, replacing old machinery that might be sort of throwing out smoke or inefficiently using fuel and all that sort of thing, and to give them a grant to enable them to do this. As I say, the grant is 40% of the work. And what I was asking for here was the parish council to agree to endorse this carbonisation initiative, and for the likes of myself to represent or to go and speak to businesses and to pass on the information, that's all, and to explain to them what is on offer from this decarbonisation initiative. So the parish council to endorse me to go and, or not necessarily me, but to endorse me or another representative of the council to give them the basics of this grant, and it's there for them if they choose to take it up.
Anyone any queries or points they want to make? Jackie?
What is Derbyshire County Council doing about it?
Well, their representative came to speak to the climate group last week. It was a major part of our meeting, and they explained all the different. They were basically passing on the information. They are the people that have got the money, and they've been, if you like, they're the agents to pass this money on to the companies. And they asked us to promote this initiative, and possibly, if the council agrees tonight, to endorse it, and for me to go and speak to businesses like, for example, Hallam's is obviously the biggest one that I can think of in the area, to reduce their carbon emissions and to get a 40% contribution toward the cost of the work. And that's basically, in a nutshell, what I'm asking the council to do, to endorse the initiative and to give me the permission to spread the word, if you like.
Right, anybody want to say anything? Kath, you've got your hand raised.
I have, yes. I think we discussed as well to include pubs and restaurants, local pubs and restaurants.
That's right.
In this. We did do a brainstorm of local businesses that would qualify and benefit from this.
Jackie?
I hope I don't sound peevish at this point. Once upon a time, people used to come and talk to the council as a whole. And sometimes it would be a meeting before our parish council meeting at which the public could also be present and be able to ask questions and have them answered by the very people. And I'm beginning to feel a slight lack of that sort of event. Some members of our council are hearing directly from, for instance, Derbyshire County Council about this scheme, and we're hearing it secondhand and being asked to endorse someone. And I do feel a bit peeved not hearing it firsthand.
Can I speak on that, Tony?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point, Jackie. The lady concerned did come to speak to the climate group. I don't know, I can't remember if we invited her or who set up the meeting, but
presumably the clerk.
No.
Yeah,
well, sorry, no. I was asked to send an invite to, I think it was by yourself or Laurie, to include a Zoom invite to this lady, Pasteur was her name. Yeah. When you agreed the agenda. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. But it's basically to the first stage of this will be for the decarbonised group that, as I say, the Derbyshire County Council or a section of it are going to endorse. They will go to the company and provide an audit for them of things which they can take advantage of. And then it's just really an educational thing at first. And then if they want to proceed with the work, then the decarbonised group will explain to them how they can be helped by the grant that's available. So they will provide an audit, as Kath said, for things like pubs as well as businesses like Hallam's. And then it's an educational thing at first. But as I say, then there will be financial benefits to the company as well after that.
I've got Lisa and then Eva. Lisa.
Can we just bear in mind that especially the pubs and restaurants, much they're going to get the discount, they ain't got no money at the moment with all this COVID stuff. I don't think they'll be interested at the moment. They're under threat of closure again. I know
Eva.
it might be a good thing. I just think it's a good thing at the wrong time.
Eva.
How can we send a representative on a subject the rest of the councillors haven't heard about? And I agree with Jackie. It should be put before all the councillors before we send a representative anywhere. That is one of the rulings of the council.
Kath.
Sorry,
I'll
John.
come back to you in a bit, Mick.
Yep.
Kath.
Yeah, I don't think it's a major issue. We could get her to give her presentation to the parish council. I don't think that's going to be a big problem.
Yeah, easily done.
Yeah.
Mick.
The problem with this, Eva, is that, as you know, with these budgets, etc., they, if people are getting a major benefit from it, the money won't be there necessarily in a month or 2 months' time. So the quicker that the companies are made aware of it, the quicker they'll be able to take advantage. I understand Lisa's point about pubs, etc., but this at first will be just giving them the information, and then they can make a call on it. There's no sort of hold on anybody to react to it.
I don't.
I've got Jackie and I've got Eva, and then I think we need to bring it to a conclusion. Jackie.
If time is of the essence, then it's a much more effective course of action for the presentation to be made to the whole council.
Yeah.
Eva, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, it's important. How can we back a councillor when we don't know ourselves? And, you know, it doesn't matter how important or at the time or anything. I can imagine you going to Alan's garage and knowing the rest of the councillors don't know anything about it. It is going about it the wrong way. Sorry.
Right, Mick, do you want to come back before we
I
ask for a proposal?
The actual information or the literature was made available to the councillors. Andy, is that correct?
We haven't got the PowerPoint.
Pardon me?
We haven't got the PowerPoint. All we've got is what I've flicked up on the screen for you there.
But were the decarbonised documents sent?
We haven't got the documents.
No.
We haven't got. All we've got is your two. I've just put up on the screen there, which don't have the ins and outs. But that's all I had, because I couldn't get your photos off my phone.
So if we had a vote on this now, then we couldn't have a vote again for 6 months. Is that right?
Well, you don't have to devote. You could defer slightly different. I don't see a problem with me writing to, is it Liz Pasture, and saying, will you do a PowerPoint next week in the week and doing you a Zoom then?
If
I will propose that, and that we bring it back for a decision to the next meeting.
Yeah.
Because I agree with Jackie and Eva. On the other hand, I'm supportive of the aims here, and if we can bring it to attention of any of the local businesses, notwithstanding the difficulties that that the pub and restaurants are suffering at the moment, I think it'd be a good thing if we only got one business tied up. So the proposal is that the clerk contacts her, the lady you just described, and we bring it back to the November meeting for a decision. Yeah. Will someone second that, please?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Eva. All those in favour?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Right. That's carried unanimously. Right. Let's hope that we can support it at the next meeting. Now then, the 18 is the tree charter. Now, is this for Kath to present?
Yes,
Kath.
That's me.
Okay.
I'll try and do it with a video.
Oh, hang on. I need to let you be able to share. Just
try and switch my video on.
Oh, I thought you were going to share a video. Sorry, Kath.
Yeah, sorry, I've had to switch my video off again. I lose the sound when I switch the video on for some reason. So you'll have to bear me out. It's a very quick and simple one. The Woodland Charter have started a new initiative in partnership with the is it the DALC or the NALC, the National
NALC.
Association for Local NALC, the local councillors. This is fully funded, and they are wanting councils, parish councils, town councils to sign up to the tree charter. Yeah, this is the one. And it's fully funded, as I say, in partnership with the NALC and the Woodland Trust. We don't have to, this won't cost us anything. There's no onus on us to do anything, but if we do sign up to it, we get free trees. And they do have a tree day on the 28th of November. And we get what we plan to do. This is the summary of the appendix there. It's got the headings: sustain landscapes rich in wildlife, plant for the future, celebrate the power of trees to inspire. Those, I think there's 5 or 6 points there. And as I say, they're quite generous with their offers of free trees and shrubbery. And all we have to do is after this meeting, if you agree to sign up to it, all we have to do is notify somebody called Zena, I think, if we can do that on behalf of the council, that we're members, and then we get all the benefits of being members of this tree charter. If we sign up, that means we can participate in Tree Day, which, as I say, is on the 28th of November, and it'll involve sort of the whole village. One idea that we did have was that everybody with the ability or the land or the garden available could have a free tree, and we could involve the whole village. So I'd like to ask if we can go ahead with this, if we can join this tree charter on behalf of, if the parish council could join this tree charter.
Okay,
please.
Can I ask, this came rather late in the day. Have councillors read this?
No.
In particular, pages 31 and 32.
No.
No.
Right, because I have concerns about this charter. I am very supportive of the general aim. I reckon that I've got well over 1,000 trees on our land, or we have. My wife was stood here; she'd be reminding me. It's we. But if I may just read from page 31, and I am just picking out random points here. It says. Create transport networks for wildlife as well as people. Farm the land to provide for wildlife as well as people. Allow the natural cycle of life. Now, and then it goes on as develop an action plan to harness the health benefits of trees. I have a fear that we sign up for this. You know, as a council, we get a brownie point for signing, but then later in the day, someone comes along and says, well, you've signed up for this, but you're not applying it this way, that way, and the other way, and that there is that there is a cost. I also have a concern that if members have not read it, that we might be jumping into something, and people are unaware of what we're into. So my suggestion would be, and the proposal I'm going to make, is that we defer this to the next meeting, and I would strongly advise fellow councillors to read it. I'll be quite honest, I've only scanned it until I got to page 31 and 32. So my proposal is that it's deferred to the next meeting.
I'll second that.
Mick?
Yeah, Tony, I think you're possibly reading too much into it. The gist of this to me is that we're participating in a scenario where we will get free trees to plant in the parish, and that will be of help to to take in carbon emissions. I don't think there's anything sort of extravagant in this. It's just a question of getting involved in it with a group of people who'd like to see more trees planted. That's how I interpret it anyway.
Well, I'd like to get more trees planted, and in fact, you know, I'd be more than happy to contribute some trees. But I think it needs careful thinking about when you get the summary of the tree charter. Perhaps come the next meeting, perhaps others will agree with you, Mick, and I will be in the minority. But I have got concerns about it. Does anybody else want to make a point?
I've got my hand up. If I
Right,
could,
sorry, Kath.
Sorry.
Please.
Right. I agree with Mick. I think your concerns are, you know, the whole point of this is just to get some more trees planted. I mean, the highways for wildlife, we've done all that. Everything's there already. It's like hedgehog highways or whatever. I think we could tick every single box right now, you know, that we contribute towards this charter. As I say, the whole point is just free trees to plant. We've not got to meet any sort of examination standards or whatever, and I'm pretty sure we could meet those even if we did.
Lisa. Can you hear me, Lisa?
Things. I agree with you, Tony. I think, yeah, there's a lot of stuff on that leaflet that you are putting your signature to that you need to look at carefully. And the other thing is, I love planting trees. Where are you going to put them all? We struggle to find anywhere to put all the orchard things. Well, so that's a bit of a concern as well.
That was the point. Our initial thing for this November was to involve households to plant them in their own gardens, basically. Just a village.
There is, though, Tony's right. If you read that leaflet, if you sign up for that, there does seem a lot of stuff in there.
Okay, I've got Jackie, Eva and Mick. Jackie.
I'm sorry, but in the words, I'm hearing a lot of we, referring to a group of people, which doesn't happen to be the parish council, at which meeting we are currently all present. Those of us who are not involved in that we, whatever it is, are seeing this really for the first time. And there's quite a lot to get through and to think about and to talk about and discuss, which we don't really have time for. And I would support Tony in deferring it to next month.
Eva.
I agree with you and with Jackie, and I think it should be deferred till next month for us to be able to study this leaflet.
Mick?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to keep reminding the council, but before I was elected onto the council, that we all agreed that the climate was a massive priority, and I even believe that you passed, when I wasn't a councillor, some climate emergency initiative. And it seems to me often that when these matters come up, and it's rather frustrating, bearing that in mind that you've passed that people seem to be balking at basic initiatives that will help not only reduce carbon emissions, but help capture carbon emissions. And I'm very, very surprised that so many people take negative or cautious approach to something that needs to be addressed as a matter of urgency. And I'm really disappointed often in the reaction of councillors. I'm not saying that Tony's suggestion of reading this more thoroughly is not a sensible one, but as I say, it would be nice, or it'd be more promising with regard to what you passed before I became a councillor, if people took a more positive reaction each time. But I never get the impression that we're keen or we're right behind the initiative that you all passed.
I think I'll speak, I'll take Kath, and then I'm going to take a vote. I think my concern is that we don't sign the council up now and for years to come to something which is onerous in terms of finances. I agree with you, Nick. Not enough is being done nationally or locally about the environment and carbon emissions. I agree with that completely. But on the other hand, I don't sign the council up to something which is onerous and which can cost money, which we can ill afford at some later date. I'm going to take Catherine, and then we'll move to the vote. Kath.
I want to speak.
Sorry.
Go on, Kath.
Yes. Sorry, I'm a bit thrown now. The only reason that the only worry I'd have about deferring it to the November meeting is that the National Tree Day is on the last Saturday of November, which even if it's past next meeting, it only gives us a couple of weeks to organise some sort of event to utilise the free trees that we would be entitled to for the Tree Day.
Well, the next meeting is the 4th, which would of November, which would give us, unless I'm mistaken, would give us 3.5 weeks. And Kath, I'll make this promise: if it's passed at the next meeting, I will help with any arrangements. I don't work. I'm retired, and I'll put my my efforts into that. Okay. Can we?
Can I speak?
Well, very quickly. Go
Can
on.
I speak?
Very quickly.
Be quick. Mick, I think sometimes we are cautious because it's not our money, is it? But as a council, could we not do something ourselves to encourage people to plant trees in the garden, or come up with something we could do without signing something like that? When I was a kid, we often used to plant trees around the village. I've done one myself through the school with the parish council involvement a long time ago. But why can't we do something on our own without signing up to something like that? I bet lots of people would donate trees.
Lisa, can I just sum up there, Tony? Because I know it wasn't me presenting it, but Andy will endorse me in there because at the last meeting, I had intended to produce 2 proposals, one on the tennis court and one on the very thing you've just mentioned. But Andy advised me to take it off because I had to. You remember Hayfield Juniors had an important match that I couldn't get out of, and it ran on into the parish council time, so I couldn't actually make the meeting. So your very suggestion I was going to actually put to the parish council, but then at the last climate meeting last Tuesday, it came up, this tree initiative that Kath has presented, and we thought we'd put the 2 in one category, particularly as we were going to get some free trees. So I just saw it as a very good opportunity to get free trees and to give them out to the parishioners if they wanted them. That's all I saw this as, to be honest.
Okay, well, let's see how we go, and perhaps we could see, do they call them whips, the little trees? How much we could get some of those for? Right, the proposal was that we deferred it to the last meeting so that councillors could read the charter, in particular pages 31 and 32. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favour of that proposal, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hands I can see, so therefore it's passed. Thank you. Andy, will you agenda it for the next meeting, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, the 19, the winter planting, Andy.
A simple one. One of the contracted gardeners are asking to proceed with the purchase of winter plants to fill the planters in the village, etc. If for information, the £2,000 budget for the year, by some miracle, the summer planting has come in at £1,072 £800, which means in effect there's almost £1,000 less left. I normally ask Chris to reduce the winter order to 700 to 800 with our preferred supplier, DG Ross, but you can't go ahead till you authorise him to order.
Eva.
Can I just say I have personally thanked them. The flowers have looked absolutely superb. But I think from the council, they should be told how much we've appreciated their hard work.
Yeah, I think we're all in favour of that, Andy. If you one or two thumbs up there. So if you could do that, that'd be we'd be grateful.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, anybody else want to speak? Jackie.
Shall we propose £800 worth of plants? Is that what the clerk was recommending?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's the
Up to
norm.
800.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to second that?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Eva. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you.
Can I just add? Could they be insect-friendly plants? We went to a lot of trouble for the spring and summer planting to make sure they were insect-friendly. Will that apply to the winter planting as well?
It kind of depends.
Yeah.
It's a funny year. It's we struggled in the summer to actually source. Again, he's a very experienced gardener. I can ask him, but he was if availability is there, he always bears things like that in mind. We did struggle earlier in the year to source what was needed because of COVID.
Okay. Well, when we're talking about next year's supply, I think that's something that we need to bear in mind. And if you can remind us all, Kath, when we're talking about next year. The Little Hayfield Clough Management Plan.
You missed one.
Yeah, Andy?
No, did we just approve the £800? I've just missed it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Just
Unanimously.
Telephone kiosk number 20, New Mills Road.
Sorry.
Which I think Dave Toft, although he wanted to, would have known a bit more than the rest of us. I know a tiny bit, which is that telephone kiosk that I can sort of see from this window. Up for "Do you want it?" from BT for the usual £1, and you and I, Councillor Ashton, received an email asking whether we would buy it on behalf of Hayfield National Women's Register for use as a library book swap facility, and they would take responsibility for the running, maintenance, etc. I know only as much as you do, Councillor.
I think my concern with it, I think it's a great idea. But what happens if the organisation falls apart? What do we do with the telephone box? That's my concern. I throw it open to other councillors for comments. Or
can we make
that's my concern.
Mick, would you? I think
we make it available to Manchester United because it might be more mobile than some of their defenders. Sorry, Dave. Sorry, Dave.
It's all right. It's all right. I'm not a red. Not a blue either, but there you go. I support Bolton, and after our first win of the season on Saturday, I'm euphoric.
Yeah,
the thing is that I mean, I'm supportive, but on the other hand, I don't want to be left with a phone box on our hand.
The only thing the group did say was that they're virtually as old as the Women's Institute and have been going a good 100 years. So
is this the members or the?
No. I'd never heard of them, and I was assured this was as deep rooted as the WI. But as I say, Councillor Toft isn't here, and that's
Lisa.
I actually will support this. I think it'll be okay.
You don't think we'll finish up with
I think we should do it. I don't think we will.
Okay.
And I'm sure
Anyone else got any comments?
If not.
All right. Can we, Eva?
I think it's a good thing, and if it does go wrong, surely we can think of something else to put in there.
Okay.
I'll stick some books in it.
Right.
It's
Will
made
someone
to
make a
look better than what it does.
Will someone make a
Yeah.
proposal, please?
I'll propose it.
Eva's proposed it. Someone second it?
I'll second it.
Dave's seconded it as there. So all those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. And now we're to Little Hayfield Clough Management Plan, which I believe has been circulated. Has it not, Andy?
Historically, it has. You and I both know the Little Hayfield Advisory Group hasn't met since COVID. An email was received from one of the members asking, as you know, annually there's this plan, and last year we did some tree work for them. I had an email asking about tree work, etc. I pointed out we were surveying the trees on all our land, so that was on hold till we heard about the trees. But they did point out that within the plan, there is the bracken clearance and various other aspects. Would we consider using the preferred contractor again for some works there? We spent something like £650 last year on tree works. We haven't on the Clough. We haven't spent anything else. It was a plan adopted in 2012, and we re-adopted it by resolution last year. So we are committed to the plan, which is how much would we want to spend on the Clough. And Jackie, Councillor Wilson, I believe, has got a better idea than me most of the times on this plan. Please nod your head. Please nod your head.
Do you want to say anything?
No, I don't. I mean, there is some work that they would want doing that wouldn't be identified by a general tree survey, because they like some coppicing and some pollarding and a few other bits and pieces that probably wouldn't be identified by the tree survey, but nevertheless they want to carry the work out to maintain the character of different parts of the Clough.
I think that's the point they were making to me. They were very happy to hear about. I'm just going to pull the email up and see if this. Oh, there's a fair bit in there. I mean, I can't read that fast, but yeah, that is the point. What Jackie's made is that yes, tree work, super, do a tree survey, but there's other aspects of the plan, which is bracken clearance, etc. And I suppose the question I've got for yourselves is: Are you prepared to spend from? How would looking at this would be our other works budget, which is pretty large. And what would you be prepared to spend? In which case, I will go back to Little Hayfield Advisory Group and say, not tree work, but other works, and it must be from the plan, which I was looking at then, which is quite extensive.
Have you any thoughts, Andy, to guide us?
We did some pretty major stuff for 650 last year. My other works budget is healthy. If we put 500, because it's not, it's a fairly built-up area, and I am plucking a figure out of thin air, Tony, to be honest.
Right. Well, I would suggest that that up to 500 then. So I'll make that proposal. That
I'll second it.
Okay.
Last year, I went to I went to the contractor and said, "This is everything they want. Itemize it, please, because I've only got so much I can spend." And I'll go back to the group and say, "Well, you've got this from the council. This is how much the various your wish list cost. Pick the most urgent bits," and that's what we did last year. So if you do that, I'll do exactly the same this year. Say, what do you want doing? I'll go to the contractor, itemize your bill, and then say, which ones do you want doing?
That sounds an excellent
Good
idea.
idea.
Jackie, do you want to make any points?
Only very quickly that last year it was 2 years worth of work, because they hadn't managed to get it done the year before because of weather, and so it was probably more.
Well, we didn't do it. We didn't do everything they wanted because I sort of capped. I thought I can't do it. I haven't got the budget for 2 years worth of work.
No, I'm supportive of the agreement about a ceiling.
Right. So up to £500. That's been moved and seconded. All those in favour, please. And that is carried unanimously. Thank you. I'm conscious of the time. It's 5 to 9. So if we can move forward with these. Andy, did you say the council heater you've not had a quote yet?
No. I if you pardon the fishing expression, I got a bite from someone who could do it and was extremely excited and thought I'd be coming to you with an installation quote, but that doesn't seem to have panned out. So defer that, please, and I'll keep fishing.
Okay. 23 group reports. Little Hayfield Advisory Group's not met. The traffic management, you've already made your report about that, Eva.
Well, I've wrote to the headmaster and he's sending some more paperwork out, and Kinder is a lot quieter, so is the rest of the High Peak now the weather's changed. Our main concern is the parking in the village on the yellow lines, which is usually local people, and it's causing a lot of problems. But the school, going back to the incident, it's very sad when the police have to be involved with where there's children concerned. That's it, Tony.
Mick.
Yeah, I just wanted to raise a slight concern what Eva said in her report about the Borough Council going on to the Roy Lyons Advisory Group, or whatever you like to call it. I hope that when Eva said that, she didn't sort of mean that the actual parish councillors, which are on the traffic group, myself.
No, it's nothing to do with that.
Right. So I just want to make certain we keep lines of communication alive with Roy Lyons' group. So next time he does actually officially.
No, you've missed the point.
If you just let me finish, Eva.
Yeah, let him finish, Eva. And
thank you. Next time, Andy, we get an official invite, if you like, from Roy Lyons Group, that we're still, the parish councillors are still going to be able to go to those meetings and give advice or to listen and bring it back to the council. Because I wouldn't want that group to be alienated completely, because I think Roy Lyons and the people with him are quite intelligent and measured people.
Okay.
Tony?
Andy, go on.
Sorry, I was one item. I don't know if you have to be able to very quickly. I was approached by one of the PCSOs involved with the Community Speedwatch from Derbyshire, talking about the Hayfield and Little Hayfield Community Speedwatch group being trained, up and running, and stating that although Speedwatch groups can hire and collect equipment from Buxton or wherever, we as a parish council could buy a mobile speed handheld radar device for £450 if we were to manage and securely keep it. That should have been on the agenda, and in theory I could raise it at finance for consideration, but as we've said, that might not be the whole council. I don't know how you want to proceed with my omission.
Well, if the council were so minded to, I will contribute £225, half of it from my council fund, and we'll try and get funding that way, Eva and I, because it will be used throughout the village, particularly in Little Hayfield, but elsewhere in the village as well. So if
and for
I don't think that
feeding
requires
back.
a resolution, because we'll be acting outside of the parish council. Lisa, do you want to make a comment?
No, sorry, it's okay.
What I will say though, whilst we're talking about this, is that at the moment we're looking at the winter months and things will ease within the village, and we had said that as soon as the COVID restrictions were limited, we would hold a meeting and consult with villagers about what their aspirations are. And to be honest, I think some of their the aspirations of some people are unrealistic and can never be met. But we would. But I think we're now at the situation where there's no sign of us being able to hold a public meeting, and I have a concern that we'll go through the winter, maybe be in a similar situation. Hopefully it will have improved, but we'll be looking at a repeat of this come Easter time. And I just wonder, I'll pop this suggestion too, do we want to be looking at this at the next meeting?
Looking at what?
Or am I over concerned about what we can do? But I think as a body, we could perhaps approach the county council and others to see what can be done, and indeed the Peak Park. But I must say, once again, don't seem to be over helpful in these things.
No.
What are you referring to, Tony? Done vis-a-vis speed limits and that type of thing, or?
Well, primarily parking within the village. You know, enforcement of the double yellow lines. Do we want? You know, the problem is that I think Eva's done a great job on Kinder Road, but to a degree, that shifted the problem onto Valley Road. You know, what can be done? There's been a suggestion about using the old school field. Well, frankly, I don't think that is practical, because by the time you've insured it and you put parking bays in and you've made sure you collect your money, it's not a viable proposition. But you know, let's look at it. Let's get it costed if that's what the council want. But I just feel that people are frustrated, and I understand that frustration. And we, you know, how long do we want to be waiting to have a consultation with the villagers to get their views? I throw that open, and you know, has anyone got any comments on it?
That's a big subject, Tony, probably for another meeting. I think it's so many things to discuss there, isn't there?
There are.
I agree. Yes, I think.
Okay,
I'm
right.
flagging a bit now. Yeah.
Right. I don't mean, I didn't want to discuss it now. I was talking about, you know, talking about it in November or December, maybe.
Yeah.
But, anyway, think about it. It can be agendaed as to, you know, if one or two of you share that view. If not, we'll wait until the end of COVID and, as we said, consult with people. Do you want to make any comments about the climate emergency group?
No, I think we've covered everything so far there, Tony. We met last Tuesday and we brought the three proposals. So nothing more to add, really.
Okay. Outside bodies, the Hayfield Allotment Society, is there anything there? Nope. Educational charity, we've had virtual, well, email correspondence, but I don't think there's anything to report at this stage. Do you, Eva?
No, not at this stage, is there? We haven't had the final things.
I've spoken to them, and I will send that email attempt this week. Wish me luck to get it up and running.
Yeah, the football club, Tony, have started their fixtures. Things are going extremely well in the circumstances. All teams are training. We've started training up at Chapel School now in the evening under floodlights. I just got to commend the football club for the work they're doing with the local youngsters. It's, you know, keeping kids moving at this time when they've been really sort of demoralised by their exams being postponed, etc. And I think the football club are doing a superb job, really do. But I've got nothing to report vis-a-vis anything beyond.
Right. No, we're supportive. It's a good thing for the kids in and around the village. Village Hall? Nothing. Nothing, and nothing from the Arden Quarry, other than to say that traffic at the moment seems to be lighter to the quarry, and as they said, there's no waste going in. It's all soils, as you see the wagons going through. So that was item 24. Nothing from the Hayfield Quarry Liaison or the Community Orchard Project?
Yes, a bit from the Community Orchard Project, if that's all right. Is Jackie got? Sorry,
No,
Jackie.
no, I said no.
Sorry.
I said no.
Yeah, the orchard project, the apples are all in. We've lost a few, either to a late frost or to somebody's had it away with them. I don't know, but we've still got a fair. We've got enough to make 80 litres apparently. Now he is changing. We were trying to set up a community cooperative, but the COVID has put paid to that. We've not been able to organise a meeting. The presser, Joe in Whaley, who does the pressing, he's wanting to change. Normally he did so much pressing and gave us some bottles, a few bottles in exchange for the amount of apples that we gave him. He wants to change now to charging us per litre for bottling it, which is, I think he quoted about £1.40 per litre, which we would need. And what we plan to do, as I say, we were hoping to have it all up and running so we could sell it. But what we planned to do was actually give it away in front of the pack horse, maybe on a Saturday morning, in exchange for a donation. So I would hope that we would get the initial outlay back. So what I'm saying is, if we get a receipt from Joe, can I have the money out of the orchard project and hopefully put more back in when we've got rid of the bottles in exchange for donations? In theory, could I?
And is that possible, or would the money have to come in and then be agreed to go out again?
What are we buying? We're buying bottles. Sorry, I've lost that.
Bottling. The price of bottling, I think it was £1.40 a litre he was charging us. That would be for apple juice as well as cider. And he reckons we've got enough for about 80 litres. So that would be probably nearly £100.
No, it's be £112.
Yeah.
£112, yeah.
Good arithmetic there, Tony.
Yes, I know. Fantastic. I'm impressed. So I'm wondering if, and as I say, I hope we would make that back and a profit by giving it away in exchange for a donation to the Orchard Fund. So if we get a receipt from him, would I be able to draw that out of the Orchard Fund and hopefully put back more back into the Orchard Fund?
If the council resolves to purchase bottles for a civic reason, then yeah, that's fine. We can buy it, but can you get your receipts or your invoice made out to the parish council? Because I can never really exchange money with you as a councillor. That makes it's strange, but as long as it's got our name
doing
on
it for the parish council. Yeah,
the invoice made out to us. I can fit it in.
How much money would we be talking, Kath?
Well, as I say, 80 litres, you just did the sums. I think it was it
112?
112. Yeah, round about that. I don't know whether it's exactly 80 litres, but that's what he worked out roughly.
Oh.
That's a ballpark figure.
Okay, there's Lisa, Eva, and then Mick. Lisa.
No, sorry, I would just plug my gadget back in. Sorry.
Eva.
I'm losing battery.
Surely you'd be better putting a charge on a bottle. So much a bottle, because donations don't always produce the amount of money you think.
I know. I was trying to get around the business thing. I was thinking of a donation of at least £2.50 for a litre of cider. But I was intending to make a profit for the orchard.
I think a suggested donation would help, Kath, because as Eva says. But on the other hand, because of the licensing laws, I don't think you can sell cider as such. It's got to be
that's why I was saying it would be in tune of a donation, but I'd try and put a minimum amount for the donation.
Yeah.
Okay, Mick.
Yeah, 2 points I'd like to make. Firstly, Kath, is there any chance that we could get the guy down to £1 a bottle?
Yeah.
Is it negotiable?
Haggle with him. I'll try that. Yeah, because Derek's done the haggle. Has done the business deal. So I'll get back to Derek and see if he can haggle.
Seems quite a lot, 40 per litre, but I also think that the chances are with people coming to the pack horse, they're likely to give at least £2, I would have thought, for a bottle. And
Yeah.
what is
that's
the
what we are.
likelihood of how much money we're going to lose anyway?
Mhm.
Maximum we can lose, Tony, is 112 quid, which
Yeah.
is likely
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
people aren't going to give no donation. So I should imagine it'll
Oh
be.
no, we'll buy the surplus. We'll make sure the 100 and odd is back in the bank at least, plus a bit, I would hope. Yeah.
But I still think we can go back and negotiate maybe £1 a bottle for the.
All right. Yeah.
If he
Okay.
doesn't-
Okay, so I think moving on, it's not been proposed in the result, but I think the general consensus is get on with it.
Yeah.
Right, finance and accounts for payments.
Okay.
You've got those in item 25. Do you want to say anything, Andy? Or do you
Very quickly, I've got 2 invoices. The first one I'm showing you here is the solar farm feasibility report. We're contractually obliged to get that paid. The contract worked as we wanted it to, in that ADAS presented me with an invoice. I ignored that, and then I invoiced Derby County Council in the set way. They repaid me. They paid into our account the 12,388 of the ADAS invoice, and now I'm prepared to pay the ADAS invoice with the VAT, which I will then claim back. And you see that as back 752. I just unusually, rather than waiting for finances, I had another big bill. As expected, that website accessibility work was done to the cost of 1,000, but by God, it was a lot of work. There's the ADAS invoice, and this is all the High Peak internet work. Those payments are set up awaiting authorization by the council, and if authorized, can 2 councillors commit to pressing the buttons post meeting?
Okay, so will someone propose that we make those payments?
I will.
Right, thank you, Jackie.
I propose we make
Eva seconded that. So all those in favour? Thank you. And now two volunteers.
I'll volunteer.
Well, I think Kath is usually our go-to person, and since she's just got for her bottling money, she can definitely volunteer. Jackie, were you volunteering as well?
Yeah.
I will, yes.
Wonderful.
I've lost Kath on the mic now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm on there now. Yes, I'm up for it. Yeah.
Great.
Is that straight after this meeting?
Please, if you could.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question?
Please do.
Have we minuted somewhere the payment of the grant? So we're about to pay out 14,000, etc. And
we've just done that now with the last vote, Jackie.
Have we minuted the payment to us of the grant money?
That will come up at the next finance meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be in the invoices. The September invoices will contain that grant money from Derby City Council, and other things. So we're a bit out of kilter, but you will note it in the invoices, and you'll see it in the finance report.
Right.
But when you make this payment, you'll see it on the bank account.
The rules and regulations about payments out are much stronger than the ones about payments in.
Yeah. Well, to put your mind at ease, just check the bank balance, the transactions log when you log on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so we move to items from the agenda.
Tony?
Yes?
Can you excuse me, please?
You're going?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I need to leave the meeting.
Okay, fine.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye now.
Bye, Eva.
Could you do the finance report, Tony?
Yeah, sorry, right, go on.
It just, I've distributed it to you all.
Yeah.
Let things go. Unless I'm having questions, will you move to note it? So at least I've got that in the minutes if they choose this month to audit.
Okay, I'll move that. Somebody second it. Thanks, Martin. All in favour?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's carried unanimously. We resolved that 2 items should be moved to part 2. So that in view of the confidential nature of the 2 items, the press and public will be excluded from the meeting in accordance with the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act of 1960. I'll move that. Somebody second it, please. Thanks, David. All in favour?
Yes.
Yes. Andy, could you stop the recording to YouTube, which I think takes about 20 seconds, doesn't it?
Okay, here we go.